Yeah, so in the last video we discussed about this keyword and how it's dynamic and kind of differently behave from other languages, and how it depends on where you're executing it plus how you're executing it. It depends on both, right? So the value can change depending on any of it. You can find it somewhere. I'll link it somewhere here. But in this video we'll discuss about arrow functions, like why the requirement of arrow functions came in and why do we need them in the first place and what problem that it solves. We kind of went through it a bit in the last video, but here we'll see an example and try to understand what problem it solves. So what happens is, let's say we have something like maybe function timer, and then let's say we call the function timer below after defining it for later. And here we have I don't know, this dot timer equals to, let's say, 0, and then we set interval. So what we want to do is we want to increment it by 1 for every value we get. So let's now do this at first. Let's assign it as a variable. Let timer equals to this, and we do function, we do timer plus plus, and then we do console or log timer, and below we have 1000. So every 1000 milliseconds or every 1 second we increase it by 1 and we log it, right? So that's what it is doing. And then if we run this, we get the behavior we expect. It's fine. But now let's do some changes here. Instead of making this, let's call it this, and we try logging this, and we increment the same. We stop this function, we run this again, we get nans. So that's the problem. So you see, like this represents the current execution context. So when you are inside this function, as we saw in the last video, it represents the global object, so execution context of the global object. But here this is different, right? So if we log this here, and if we try logging it here, what am I doing? Let's see what they give us. And let's go to top. So you see, for the first one is global object, and the second one is probably this timeout, right? So both have different context, both are on different execution context. So this timer variable and this is not same, or property, or whatever you call it. Both are not the same. So that's why you are getting nans whenever you're trying to log the value. Why is that the case? Because when you have function, it will take up the execution context of its own. Like so, to solve this, we kind of do it with arrow functions. So what arrow function would do is, it will take the execution context of whatever or wherever it's executed from. That's what. It won't have any of its own execution context or anything as such. So essentially what we are doing is, if we do something like this, then what we will get is global. On the top it's global, then on the bottom, as in on here also, it's global, and timer is executing as we are expecting it to. And you can see this timer value is added to the global object. So since we are doing this dot timer, this represents the global aspect, and we discussed in the last video how we can override or how we can add values to objects and stuff. So we are doing the same thing here. We are adding this to the object and we are accessing it from anywhere. Another fun thing that you can sort of do is, after doing this, you can get it from anywhere, since it's not related to the video, as we said, since like, see, the global object is accessible without doing anything in Node.js. So if you assign any property to it, in our case the timer, you can access it from anywhere in the code. Like you can do it set interval, set timeout, performance API. You can access timer as well. But yeah, that's something that came up. It's not related to this video. So basically in this video I'm mostly trying to explain like the arrow function here. It will inherit, or what to say, it will get the execution context of its parent. It doesn't have one of its own, and so it will have, or it will give the behavior that we kind of expect, right? So yeah, that should be it for this video. If you liked it, drop a like, drop a comment. If you have any suggestions, or if you want me to make videos on anything else, feel free to give me suggestions. I'll try to make those as well. And yeah, see you folks, bye.